Everybody, welcome back to our Krita class. Today we're going to continue our vector series. We're going to go over the built-in text feature within Krita, and then we're going to make our own letters here and go over the logical operations and some other features with the vectors. So this is just like a quick breakdown of what some of the results will be, just to learn how these tools work. So the first thing I did was I sketched out just hello world, because it's very basic and simple, and I kind of tweaked the letters individually about how I want them to look with the vector. I have like just lines going through one of the L's. I have holes kind of going over the L and the O here. I have a wiggly W. I made this more blocky, and then I have just some regular type letters here. Nothing extra special about them. Then I just added some triangles here just to emphasize the word. I thought it looked neat. Alright, so just a heads up, you don't need a tablet to do any vector work within Krita. I'm using the mouse for this just because it's easier. I don't need the pressure sensitivity for this. So if you don't have a tablet, don't worry about that. You don't need it. Alright, so before we move on to making your own custom letters here, I'm going to actually show you a quick rundown of the text feature within Krita. We want to add our vector layer. We want to go up to the T here for the text and click and drag, doesn't matter where. And then what's going to load is the edit text box window. So I'm just going to put hello world. I'm going to hit save, and you can see that it's going to update right here. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, size 18. We're going to just choose a random font here. All right, I just went and picked this font because it looks kind of futuristic a little bit. And I'm going to change the color. I'm going to highlight it. And then I'm just going to change this to do a light gray. And hit save. And you can see here, our text is updated after we hit save. So if you make a change, let's say I just changed this portion to different color, and I don't save, I just hit discard, it will not update, and it's going to be like, hey, you modified this, do you want to discard your changes? So if you forget to save, you'll get a warning on the pop-up. Hit save again. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Perfect. And you can go ahead and italicize it, underline it, all that good stuff, center it, left align, right align. Change the spacing of the between the letters if you'd like. You can change the spacing between paragraphs. So if I were to shift enter and just start typing some more, whoops, I'm sorry, just enter. If you just hit enter, you can get a new line. And then I can reduce the spacing between the lines, or I can increase them. The SVG source is, if you know any coding, you can go ahead and change this completely. So if I want to change the font size to 150, I can do that, and it changes it within the SVG. You don't have to do it like that. You can actually just go and type in, we'll say like 135 here. Oops. Let me highlight it first, and then I can change it to 125. Enter, and then it'll change it there as well. So if you know a little bit of coding, you understand some of this, you can go ahead and modify it here, or you can just manually type in numbers and things like that. If you have a lot of text, you can go ahead and find and replace if you'd like. It's just basic stuff, nothing too crazy. As a note, they are working on updating this in the future. I believe there's nightly builds where it's more functional. As of this time, I haven't tried it out, but if you would like to go check it out, I would check out the Krita nightly builds. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to close, and now we have our lovely text that we've made. You can see it's a little slow when I move it, just because it's a large vector text file. If you want to edit this, you can either double click on it and wait for the text box to pop up. Here we go. Or you can click on it, make sure it's selected, go to Tool Options, hit the text option here, and go to Edit Text. It will also pop up. Right, if you would like to edit each individual letter and morph them into something you want to change, like let's say you don't like the way this edge of the E is, or you don't like how boxy the O is, you want to kind of round it out a little bit better, right click, convert shapes to vector selection, go up to your individual selector tool, right click and go to path. And go back to your selector tool, right click and ungroup. And then double click on the letters. And then now you can go ahead and modify them individually. And this is a really good starting point for making your own custom letters and things like that. If you don't like how a font looks, or you just want to modify it to something slightly different. Maybe you do like this, but you don't like how boxy the O is. You want to add a little bit more character to it, something like that. You can go ahead and do that. Alright, so now I've showed you how to do that. I'm just going to deselect, but now we can go back and edit the points. You don't have to have anything selected. And that's basically it for just the basics of using the built-in Krita text feature. I went ahead and just delete these because I don't need them anymore. And now we're going to go back to what we are going to work on. So before I continue, so what we want to do is just take the word hello, or take the words hello world, and vectorize them really quick. So we're just going to use the Bezier curve and just kind of click and make the points. We're not going to worry too much about making this super accurate because I don't want it to be. And then once we close that segment, it turns it into an outlined shape. I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick for all the letters here, and then I'll return and I'll show you how to change the outline to just make it a fill. Alright, so we have made the shapes for our letters here. Real quick, I forgot to explain, these pink lines here are just my guides that I use to make up letters, so I can kind of keep it somewhat like the similar in size here. If you want to do the same thing, just go to settings, dockers, and then grids and guides right here. I locked them, so I won't be moving them at all. If you unlock it, you can go ahead and move it around, which I don't want to do, so I'm going to keep it locked. So that's just going to be part of the video. Alright, so we have gone and made all of our individual letters. You can see their individual shapes. You can also see that I did not make any holes for the O or the R or the G. And we will do that later. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and show you real quick, if you don't remember from the last videos, how to change these from a stroke to a fill shape. And I will caveat that most of the lettering I would make a shape, not a stroke, because the logical operations work much better with a solid shape than just an outline, like an empty outline. We're actually going to turn the outline off, and we'll just go ahead and fill each one. Alright, so I've converted everything to a solid shape. Now, as we did it in the last video, we can actually lower the opacity so we can kind of see what we're doing based on our sketch of the letters. So we're going to actually start with making the holes for these shapes here. I'm going to take my Bezier curve. I'm actually going to change the fill color of this to a blue. And let's see. We're going to hit no outline here in our Bezier curve option, and we're going to hit foreground color for the fill. This way we can make our shape, but we don't need to worry about the outline. We're just going to rough this out here. Looks good. So if we were to change the opacity to solid, we can now see that this is technically the hole, but there's no actual hole in the shape. What we're going to do is we're going to select the first shape that we made, which is the main O, and then shift select the blue one, right click logical operations, and hit subtract. And now we have a solid shape, but we have a ton of little points here, but that's okay. So now we have that shape. If we wanted to, and we wanted to separate this, we can right click again, logical operations, and split. And what this is going to do is it's going to separate the two shapes out as an individual. Now if you wanted to separate them again, you can right click logical operations and split. And what that does is it's going to take both of the shapes and make them their own actual shape. So any empty space will be a solid shape now, and the solid shape that had the hole in it will now be a completely solid shape without a hole. Like a reverse donut, I guess. I'm going to undo that, and we're going to keep that there. Now if you notice, we do have a ton of points. You can always delete points that you don't think you need. So if I just hit delete, and then I can go ahead and modify this. So if I go back to my tool options, I can just make it a nice curve here. So you can always do that and reduce the amount of points that you have. In my personal opinion, I don't need to worry about that right now. So I'm going to leave it as a solid shape. We're gonna do the same thing to these. I'm going to make a nice blocky hole here for the O. Going to do the same for the R, but this one's going to be a little bit more rounded. So you want to click and drag to kind of get that curve in there. Now remember, the shape you want to keep after the logical operation is the one you click first. Then you shift select the one you want to get rid of. Then we can go to subtract and do the same thing for the other letters. Right. So now if we click on this again, you can see we have a ton of points, but not as many as the perfectly, well not perfect, but the rounded letter O. This one, it kind of retained a lot of that, those like independent points. It has a couple extra here, but that's okay. Same with this one and the letter D. Perfect. I'm actually pretty happy with that. All right, so we're gonna go and leave that as it is. But now we want to make some holes in our letters here. Maybe you're making a custom logo and it's like for a Western and you want like the holes like to be like pew pew holes, you know, or something like that. So we can go ahead and just use a basic vector round shape. Let's turn that off, or turn off the stroke, and then keep the solid. I am going to change the color to something easily visible, so we'll just make this a bright green. We're going to do the L, just because we've already modified the O, and it's neat to kind of see how this looks on a different letter. Now, I'm not going to be too perfect with the holes here. I'll make some bigger, some smaller, some are going to be a little bit more oval. That's okay. So I just placed a couple solid shaped circles around the L. And the same thing's going to happen here. We're going to go ahead and click on the main shape, click on the secondary, and then hit subtract. So you cannot, unfortunately, like select all of the spheres and then subtract it. It doesn't like work very well. It does some weird things. So you want to subtract each one individually, which is kind of a pain, but it's okay. Just the way Krita is. All right, so we have turned our letters into Swiss cheese, basically. And we can go back in and we can start modifying some of these points. You can actually convert them to like rounded shapes. Let's see, we're going to delete some of these. I'm just deleting some of these at random. And then kind of do that. All right, so maybe you want to kind of tweak that to make it more organic looking and not so perfectly rounded. So you can go ahead and do that with your shapes. Doesn't really look like an L anymore, but with proper placement, you could keep the recognition that this is the letter L while keeping the Swiss cheese look. All right, so let's say we have these letters here, but we want to do something different. We want to, let's say, we'll make kind of a leaf maybe. All right, so we have that. You have a lovely little leaf sticking out of the L. Maybe you're making a plant logo or something, or you just want to have fun and just stick it out of whatever other vector shape you've made. So we're going to go ahead and shift click again, doing the L first and the leaf second, the logical operations, and hit unite. And it is now one shape. Now here we can go ahead and, as before, delete any points you may not want. Now you will have to see that the secondary shape is the same solid color as the original. So if you want to have them separate colors, I would not unite them. But if you want the same color, maybe it's a silhouette, maybe you're just making a black and white logo or something, or whatever it is, you can go ahead and do that. This does not really look like a leaf anymore, but you get the idea. The only downfall about doing this logical operation is if you were to right click and try to split them, you cannot split them back. So it just stays there. However, what you could do is you could, I'm gonna delete some of these points here so I can see. Let's make sure that they're separated. Okay, I can click on these 2 points. Then I can hit break at point under my tool options in the far left icon here on the right side. So now, whoops. These are two separate shapes. Some extra points in here. There we go. So after we separate those, if you want to keep these as separate shapes, click on that, right click, go to logical operations and split, and these are now two separate vector shapes and are no longer combined. All right, so we've done that. What we would like to do now is pretend this is all finalized, looks great, we're gonna group it. Now it's just one word and is together. And if we want to go ahead and edit things individually, we can just right click and ungroup it again, but for now we're going to pretend that's done. So here we're going to go to the W. We're going to turn our reference layer back on and lower the opacity a smidge. We can see the W is supposed to be very wavy, and we did not make it like that. So if you would like to add extra points, you just click in between two existing points till this little dotted line shows up, which is your segment, and double click. And then you can start moving these points around. Now obviously these are not rounded, so again you would want to go to our tool options, click on whatever point it is, and click one of these three options to make it editable, to make it a nice curve. If you want to edit the curvature ability for multiple points, just click and drag and just click whatever edit shape option you need. Alright, so we've made our W kind of wavy. So now we've figured out, so now we know how to add in extra points and modify them either in bulk, so we can change multiple curve settings for the points, or just individual. So let's say you want to revert these points back where you don't have these control handles anymore. You can go to your tool options. You can see as well that anything with a blue icon or the red, you can go ahead and make adjustments to that. So you can actually see what setting this is currently on because this option is grayed out. And this is the one where you can change the individual handle without affecting the other one. So if you want to do a sharp corner or a rounded edge here without affecting the other side, you can do that. And that is this option here, which is the corner point. And then as we click and change each one, it grays out with the current setting. If you don't want this anymore, you can obviously hit the delete key, or you can hit the X here. If you just want to add 2 points, you can either click and drag 2 points and add one in between, which will be symmetrically added or centered between the 2 points, versus double clicking wherever. And then if you would like to revert this back to just having no handles, you can go back to the top bar in your tool options here, the top right bar, and click on that segment make line point. So now it's just a point. There's no controls to make it curvy. All of the curvature is being affected by the points on either side. You can also go back and add those handles back in by clicking the rightmost option. So now you can go ahead and change the type of point it is with the curvature options. So let's say you have 2 of these right here and you want to make just the space in between these 2 points to curve. Go ahead and click 2 points. You can see this curve icon here. You can either bring the handles back on both sides for those points, or you can do it for just in between them. So this nice blue line here, we click that. Now we can only adjust the curves on one side of these points, and that's in between them. So if I were to undo that, I'm going to put those back to just points. Click on these 2 down here. Same thing. It's only going to do the inside between the 2 points. Now if you want to click 2 points as well, you can actually click on the dotted line in between them, and those points will highlight automatically. So if you're just trying to save time, you actually shift select them and move each of those points automatically. And if you would like to make 2 rounded points, or just go back to being straight, you can go ahead and click on the straight line here. Now if we click on these individual points, this is just, again, no controls to make it any curve, there's no curvature, and then this one only has a curvature on the one side because it's maintaining its line segment shape with the point underneath. So we can see that here as well. So it's only the segment in between the 2 points that is the handle is removed. All right, so now what we want to do is, let's say we actually have this back of this segment. Take the fill off. Okay, we have the points, we can see that. We're going to click on one of these and we're going to separate it. Great, so now it's basically just whatever this is. Whatever shape you want to call this. We've separated the points out. Remove them. But you want to connect them and make a rectangle or whatever shape it is. You can see here we have options with this bottom row. You can join them and make our triangle shape again. Or we can just join the segment and we can make a whole new line here. Or we can just join the points and make a whole new segment. And then we'd have to go ahead and straighten this out so it's, you know, easier to move around. And then if you want to separate them again, you can separate these. And then we get a new point. And if we want, we can go ahead and click the individual line here. You can break at the segment and it gets rid of it. So now these are separate lines. And then we can go ahead and right click electrical operations and split, and now we have individual lines. All right, that's it for this video. So real quick, if you are new to this channel or new to this video series, the Krita class, I kind of give out little homework sessions. You can actually share what you're creating within the Discord, which the link is in the description below. Your homework is basically to sketch out some letters. It doesn't have to be hello world, it can be whatever. You can keep it simple to just hi if you'd like. And make something cool with it using the logical operations that we just went over, breaking the segments, making new shapes to add on. For example, adding some plants maybe to the top of your letters if you'd like, grouping them, using basically everything we've learned today to modify them into something unique. Or you can start with a previous font that already exists, using the text tool within Krita and then separating out those letters and then grouping them and things like that to modify them further. I definitely recommend going over and learning all these features with the vector tools because we're going to be doing a little bit more of an advanced text option in the next video. Thank you guys for watching and I will see you in the next one.